Well guys, I broke down. Today we're going to be unboxing this nice little mechanical pencil that I got. Super fine point, as you can see. This was something I picked up from a local shop. I didn't really know much about it, but honestly this is going to be replacing my H4 regular pencils for any kind of sketch work you'll see. This is actually going to be the first time you ever see me actually do a sketch on camera. Usually I do all these just alone without any input, just because it's hard to draw on camera. It's hard to get an idea really focused in. But honestly, I think this one will turn out pretty good. There were several different versions of pencil in the shop I went to, so I just kind of picked whatever. You see, this one's neat because you can actually shake it to make the graphite come out. So instead of fumbling around with the top clicker mechanism, you can just shake it and get just the right amount of lead out. So I'll be starting off this sketch. It's going to be a pretty simple scene. I'll be working with a few different pens in this one. So I'll start off with my mechanical pencil, then I'll move along to my dip pens to finish off all the actual pieces, and then finish off finally with one of those Sharpie gel pens. I've been really enjoying those lately. They don't get a lot of love. I'm happy to announce that I am doing a lot better than I was in my last video. Still dealing with the painkillers, so that's fun. But other than that, I'm doing a lot better. My head is still in quite a bit of pain, and I've been suffering from not being able to sleep from it. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. I will live. So a lot of the actual inspiration for this piece really did come from an old sketch I did. It was a long time ago. I was trying to design someone else's character, but it was all from a completely bunk ref sheet, a very basic, very unrefined piece. So it's a lot of me trying to reclaim that feeling without having to go and redo it with the original person, Sona or whatever. Now, I really enjoy working with the actual more physical medias. They're a little bit tougher to work with, but you have a lot more control. Especially when working with these dip pens. The ink just flows so much nicer than a ballpoint. You can tell exactly how much you're using, really. You don't have to worry about it too much, and it's just you get so much of that precision, especially with such a fine dip pen. Personally, I'd like to see a lot of these dip pens come back and have their own renaissance, really. I've watched quite a bit of Peter Draws, and that really set me over the bar for wanting to get dip pens and get into all of the actual fountain pens. It seems to be something that a lot of us don't really get access to and never really get to experience, but the glass pens just write so well, and especially with the other fountain pens that I use, but I haven't featured any of those yet. I'm planning on doing a whole series on my actual art bag, basically just going and detailing everything in my little drawing kit, because there's several different pens that I'd want to talk about, such as like my old Waterman fountain pen. Actually, I have two of those. One's a more expensive model, one's a little like $30 model. And then I have several different actual utensils that I use more often that are well cheaper. Then I have this whole box of all of my dip pens and everything. So it has all of the indents and cutouts. And so I have a full range of what most people would consider for calligraphy, but I feel like having it used for more artistic endeavors is very nice. It's very refreshing to see. Now, don't get me wrong, calligraphy is nice, but once you come up with your own font and everything, you're kind of locked in like I have. I've even found that I've started writing my font in real life instead of just in my comics and everything. Though what I should really be doing is going and making an actual type font for the computer and finalizing that so I don't have to be constantly redrawing these characters over and over again. But I think that's a video and a idea for another day. Now you're gonna start seeing me do this kind of more flow technique. I'll start using this a lot for any kind of reds that I'm using for any piece. It's mostly just a way for me to really do a lot of infill without having to sit there and use like an actual pen and that I can just use the glass pen and flow it into these areas. And then you're going to see me doing the same deal with the piping in the corner. It's all just a flowing technique. It's not really... I'd prefer it if it was more like an infill, like on the computer, but you can't do that in real life. I've been really hoping to get some more rants and everything done here soon. Mostly stuff regarding, similar to the Laffy Taffy video and the Discord video. But, longer, more animated, that kind of stuff. But, those are going to take a lot more time than my normal videos. And then I also found out that I can no longer post my short videos as videos anymore, because the actual watch time has now created a little gap there. So basically, when people are watching those shorts as videos, it's now counting that watch time in a weird way and not serving it to everyone. So the last video I did about the good old days just completely flopped, and basically nobody saw that. So I think you're gonna start seeing all my short form content all shift over to being actual shorts again. But in all reality, I'm going to be focusing more on this longer form stuff to be able to actually keep people around. So now you're going to start seeing me doing some of this background texturing. It's all meant to resemble veins. This is actually a concept that I came up a long time ago for the Skinless Deer series and some of my other things to really just capture that horror and, atrociousness. It's really it's been an interesting thing to create. You can also see this is where I actually switched over to my Sharpie gel pen. These things write really nice. I'm surprised more people don't actually use these, but they really just write so well, and they can get that thick, bold outline that I really enjoy for physical media and all that. So when I'm doing this vein technique, you're going to see that it's a very light pass over the first time. It's really just to get my bearings on where everything's going to start flowing from, because a lot of it really has to be laid down, because if I start just laying down super heavy black lines, it's just going to turn out like crap, really. The other interesting thing about this piece is I've never actually done a character in the mirror before either. Have thought about doing it, but I've never actually given it a shot. So this is really really an experimental piece for a lot of these more interesting techniques that I want to be, experimenting with. The other interesting thing is actually how long this piece took to make. It took about an hour of footage is what I got from this. So it doesn't actually take that long to do a lot of these pieces. I think a lot of the time really comes down to getting a good idea, because you can have so many different ideas and everything running around, and getting that creative juice all condensed down is just such a pain. But I think I've disciplined myself hard enough to where I can just sit down and make something, instead of being like most, where you'll sit down, you'll see a blank page, and then nothing happens, and then you just feel like crap afterwards because you did technically nothing. Though I think one of the new things that I'm really trying to focus on as well is getting a workflow for music creation, and especially video creation, because I'm still really learning a lot of this, and I'm still trying to get my voice and catch that kind of workflow. Really, it's a tough process, but I feel like, the more I do this, the more I work on it, the better everything will become, and especially the better a lot of what I make will be. So I'm really excited to see where a lot of what I'm able to make goes. I'm really hoping to get more into the animation scene is what I'm really gunning for, but that takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of effort. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Y'all stay safe out there.